Hi there, welcome to Towan Talks Cardfight. I am Towan, this is my channel, and today I'll be doing deck review for you. Well, deck profile as most of the YouTubers call it. This is a Galahad Garmore Royal Paladin deck. They are based around a rogue chain and a combo set of cards named Garmore as well. You're not going to see this deck generally in tournament play. I run it, but that's because I like it, it works for me, and because I know how to play it quite well, it always works for me. It's very consistent, field consistency is incredibly high, its ride consistency is also rather high as well. You are only going to have a 4 or 5 turns before you win or lose. Just the way the deck plays out. If you're going to be dragging on longer than that, you're very, very pushed to whether you're going to win or not. It's just how this deck plays. You're going to be going for your field, you're going to be going for riding consistently early, very aggressive, very early game based. You're going to suffer masses of hand disadvantage because when you start calling out your units, when you start really going for your superior calls, you lose a lot of hand just by the way it plays. It's as if you're just doing a normal call, but you're losing it from your hand and you're taking it from the deck. So yeah, you're actually a lot of the time you're bumping up your your trigger density in your deck, but you're losing cards in your hand, so you're not going to be able to guard as much. But it's just as if you're calling a booster anyway. The way the deck plays. Okay, to start off with, we'll go for our starting vanguard. That's Drangal. As you can see up here, for those that don't know the card effect, when it's in the vanguard circle and it's at the beginning of your ride phase, so after you've drawn before you ride, you must check the top 5 cards of your deck. If in those top 5 cards you have Knight of Quests Galahad, you then superior ride that card. You can superior ride it, you don't have to. If it's there, ride it. It's best choice you can. Then you stack the bottom of the deck with those cards. They go to the bottom of your deck in any order you choose. It's the way you play it. It's the way I like this. It's the way the deck works. Okay. Next up, we have our trigger lineup. Okay. We have 4 draw triggers. These are Margals. They are a 4K trigger. Nothing special about a 4K trigger. It's just sort of there, and yeah. When it's on your rearguard circle, you can move it into your soul, and then plus 3K to your vanguard. You're not going to be using it as a booster ever. You're only ever going to use it as, well, it's your draw trigger. Gives you a bit more hand. You're going to want to bump up your soul. If anyone knows anything about the Galahad chain, you need to have 6 cards in your soul to activate your grade freeze ability. Okay. Next up, we run the standard 4 heal triggers. You're never going to ever want less than 4. That's the way you want a deck anyway. 4 heal triggers, chance of healing, extra power, unless you're running something silly like the 16 stand mass production worker Aquaforce, which I have seen before, or a 16 crit high pressure deck where you're not wanting to heal anything, you're wanting to win as soon as possible. It's happened. It's a deck that's been prominent at one point or another. Next up, I run a single Epona and 4 Alabaster Owls. Yes, that is 5 crit triggers. I don't run the 8. I like having stand triggers. It's how my deck works. It's how I want to be running this. Mostly because this deck, you're not going to be wanting to crit too much. Critting doesn't really help. You're going for the early pressure. You're just going to be hitting hard. You're wanting to hit as often as possible. Going crit isn't exactly 100% the best option for this deck. As I said, I run 3 stand triggers. They are Sharrons. That is, in my opinion, the best option for this deck. You're going to be having 11k rear guards, which you're going to want to stand up. And the way the deck runs, you're going to also need to be able to put a card into your soul at some point if you're wanting to run Galahad as your main vanguard. Okay, that's my trigger lineup. Okay, now we're moving on to the grade 1s. Right, to start with, we have the right chain grade 1s. I run 4 of Knight of Quest Galahad. Standards 7k vanilla if it's in the rearguard. If it's in your vanguard, it gains the same ability as Drangal. You check top 5 cards of your deck for the grade 2 Knight of Tribulations Galahad, and then you superior ride it. This happens at the start of the ride phase. It cannot happen if you've already ridden that turn. Remember that? You cannot chain the abuse the effects when you've superior ridden. No, you cannot ride again that turn. You cannot use the effect again that turn to restack your deck. No, it doesn't work like that. Once you've ridden it, you don't get to use its effect. If it's in your vanguard circle though, during your next turn, once you've drawn, you check top 5 cards of your deck for a Knight of Tribulations, you can then superior ride it, then put those cards at the bottom of your deck. Useful, it helps. Also, with a combination of the grade 1 Galahad, grade 2 and grade 3 Galahads, you gain magic numbers, so 16 and 18k. It's quite a nice thing to be able to do. Also, 2 grade 1 Galahads hits 14, which is a nice number against the 9k rear guards, so it's a good thing to bear in mind. Okay, next up, I run 4 Snogals. Most people would frown at this and say, why don't you just run Marin? I don't like Marin. I don't really like 8k vanillas in most decks. There's some decks where you need them. This deck isn't one of them. You're running Snogals because of Garmore. Garmore is your target vanguard, and Snogal is one of the easiest searched grade 1s in the game. It's 6k to start with. It's very poor if you ride it. You're not going to want to ride it ever. Its ability is plus 1000 for each other Snogal you have on the field. Only activates when it's in the rear guard, and it counts every Snogal including your vanguard one. So if it's in your vanguard, you're not going to get a boost. And remember, the boost is only during your turn. Okay? It's very good for later in the game. I will explain more as to why when we get to my grade 3 lineup. Next up, I run 2 Dream Painter. Very iffy card for most people. I don't see it as such. You're not going to be using it that often beyond guarding and fixing your soul, because the grade 3 Galahad is 2000 power if you don't have all 3 Galahad ride chain cards in its soul. So if you don't have Drangal, Knight of Quest and Knight of Tribulations, you're losing 2k on one of your cards. That 2k can be the difference between hitting an 18 or hitting a 16 against a cross ride, which is a big number. Okay? And next, you can guess what this card is. It is 4 Perfect Guards. Unfortunately, I traded away my Perfect Guards at one point a while ago, and I'm working on getting them back. So these are placeholder cards. They are actually 3 Marins and 1 Lien, but they are meant to be 3 Perfect Guards. I will be having those fixed by the next national tournament for when people want to come say hello, and I will see people there. You need 4 Perfect Guards, current meta, high numbers, you're going to lose otherwise. Nothing else to say on the matter. Okay, yeah, that is 14 grade 1s. Okay, next up, I'll move on to the grade 2s. Alright, that's staying there for later. I run 4 of the grade 2 Galahad, Knight of Tribulations. Alright, that's a very useful card. It's a 9k, standard 9k rearguard. Unfortunately, it's vanilla when it's not in the Vanguard circle, but when it's in the Vanguard circle, it yet again has the same card ability as these 2 cards here. Check top 5 cards. If it's Galahad, if it's the Galahad Grade 3, Superior Ride. If the Galahad Grade 3 rides up on top of this card, you Soul Charge 2. That is very important. The Grade 3 Galahad doesn't gain an ability unless you have 6 cards in the Soul. And if you ride it on your 3rd turn, on top of Untitled Tribulations, you get 5 cards in your Soul. Also, it can help to fix your Soul if you misrode on Grade 1. As Drangal does not come out of your Soul, it does not have Pioneer, you get to, if you've ridden Grade 2 here, well, a different Grade 1 here, ride to Grade 2, Superior Ride the Galahad, then you can Soul Charge and have the potential of Soul Charging Night of Quests. It can help. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. You might lose a trigger, you might not. Okay, next up, I run 2 Akane. People question why I run Akane. Well, I question why I run Akane sometimes. 8k base is not that desirable. Yes, you hit constant 16s with all your 8k rear guards that you can get, but you're hitting 15 with Galahads. I do not like this card, but it is good, it's useful, it does what it has to. That's all that can be said about it, really. Right. You counterblast 2, you Superior Call High Beast from your deck, and put it in the rear guard. That's about it. Has to be Royal Paladin. Okay. Next up, I run 1 Battle Flag Constance. This card is very good. I only run 1 because you don't have that many counterblasts to use, to be honest. You're going to use this ability maybe once a game. It's a very strong ability. When this card attacks a Vanguard and it hits, you counterblast 2, and you Superior Call a Grade 1 or lower unit from your deck. You can Superior Call any Grade 1, it works very well. Bring out another Snogal, as you do. Okay. Next up, I run 2 Beast-like Garmores. I would run more if it's had higher base damage, but it doesn't. It's got a Superior Call effect, where you drop a card from your hand, a Superior Call a Snogal or a Bluegal. When you run Snogals, so you're going to run Superior Call that. 8k base, you're going to play it in the rear guard slot and intercept with it. I don't like having to ride this card ever. It's not a good ride target. I haven't had a game where I've been able to ride it successfully and win, because you don't ride this card. That's why I run 2. That's why I'm limiting the number of 8Ks I've got. You don't want to ride it. Next up, I have my final Grade 2, which is a singular Blaster Blade. Yeah, this is a card which I've had in all my Royal Paladin decks. It's been with me since my first trial deck. This card, I think every Royal Paladin deck needs a Blaster Blade in there because it's a sniper. For those who don't know what a sniper is, counterblast 2, retire one of your opponent's units. From the Vanguard circle, it can retire any rear guard. From the rear guard, it can retire any Grade 2 or higher unit, which it's a different take on a sniper compared to the other ones, where you've got the retire any Grade 2 or lower, which means you can get rid of booster. This one can get rid of any attacker. Say you're against another Royal Paladin, you get rid of Palamedes, or you get rid of the odd Special Interceptor, or the 12k attackers, anything that's annoying that you need to get rid of. That's why you run one of these. It's a tech option. Instead of it, you could run some more another Constance, or swap it for another Garmore. I like to stick with this. It means I've got a six Grade 2s which are potential to ride into, all 9k base. So I'm avoiding the 8ks as much as possible. I like having this one. It's personal preference. Okay. I'm leaving one of these for an explanation later. Okay, now onto my Grade 3 units. I'll start off with one of the big cards of the deck. Knight of Godly Speed, Galahad. This card is an 11k base card. Only when you've got all 3 Galahads though. All 3 Galahad cards in your soul. By Galahad cards I mean Drangal, Knight of Quest Galahad, and Knight of Tribulation Galahad. Also, it has a Vanguard ability where if you have 6 cards in your soul, which means you have got to move 1 card into your soul from the ability of either Dream Painter or Margal or Sharron, right? When you have at least 6 in your soul, you can activate this ability with Counterblast 2, plus 3k, plus 1 critical. That's a very useful ability. Very strong in some circumstances. It means with the boost of, say, a Night Quest Galahad, you're at 18 already, you're wanting to hit an 11k Vanguard, you counterblast that, you're hitting 21, a nice magic number, you're forcing 15k shield at least, which would usually come out as a 25 or 30k burn from them to either no guard it because you're hitting 2 critical, or force for a 2 to pass. Quite standard. The ability to hit the numbers with an extra critical, always good. You're not really wanting to ride it, even though people might think you want to. It's your rearguard option. It's your 11k Bisa. You're wanting to have all 3 cards in your soul, all 3 of these, and have it as an 11k Bisa. That's how I like to play it. You're wanting 1 of them out on a rearguard, rest of them off perfect guard fodder and final turn moves. About it. Next up, I run 4 Knight of God, Fang of Light Garmore, including this nice, lovely SP version. For those who don't know what SP is, it's special parallel. Okay, for those that are unfamiliar with Garmore, the ability is for each Snogal or Bluegal you have out on the field, it gains plus 1000. So with this deck you get a potential plus 4000 on that, so that's 14k with no boost. Nothing to sniff at. Also, he has the ability where when he's played on the Vanguard or Rearguard circle, just like our wonderful Garmore down on this side here, this Garmore here, you discard a guard, you Superior Call a Snogal or Bluegal from the deck, so you Superior Calling a Snogal. Yeah, you drop something which you don't need, like a Margal from your hand, or you Superior Call a Snogal. It's useful. Alright, next up, what I like to call the Big Daddy Garmore. It's Sanctuary Guard Dragon. Yes, I've got the Japanese card up there, just like with Constance, you can't read its ability, but this card, I'll bring it up a bit closer. Oh no, can't read it. This is pretty much its Garmore V2. When it's placed in the Vanguard circle, only the Vanguard circle, it doesn't work in the rear guard. You can drop a card from your hand and Superior Call any grade 1. Anything. I would usually call Snogal. Snogal is the big booster you're going to be wanting it out. Or you can Superior Call a Dream Painter, then pop a card from your hand into the soul and fix your soul for Galahad. It's a way to work it. It's a tech. Also, this card has the Limit Break ability for each grade 1 or lower unit you have out on the field, like in your rear guard, for each grade 1 or lower, this gains plus 3000 power. That's very strong. Late game you can be swinging for a potential of plus 15k, plus a booster of 9k. So that's 35, with no triggers. But say you're hitting a 10k Vanguard, which can happen in the current meta, especially with the coming of Legion, which will be in a few months' time, I believe end of the year. Legion will be a big thing, and lots of Legions are 10ks, so you're going to be swinging at them for 35, so they're going to have to guard with at least 30, 35, probably 40 to be able to stop you. Yeah, it's nice. After those I've been counting, I've got one more card left, and that is one King of Knights Alfred. It's a tech. A tech option, for those that don't know, is a technical sub-in option where you put it into your deck as if this card comes up, I can use it. It will be useful in some situations. Like having the Blaster Blade, I run an Alfred because of its ability, not because of I want to ride it as a Vanguard. I really do not, because it cannot be boosted from the Vanguard circle, and it cannot hit more than 20k. And most of the time you'll be having 16 or 18. It's not a good call to have in your Vanguard circle. But as a rear guard, It also has the same ability as the Vanguard, where you can counterblast 2 to superior call a grade 2 or lower unit. As you don't have really many counterblasts in your deck, you can use it to superior call an Akane, counterblast another 2, superior call something else from your deck. It's a way to fill up your rear guards. I like it. It's useful in some situations. Other times it's just perfect guard fodder. It's not a card which you're going to use too often. You do it sometimes. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, that's a bit better. Right, now I'm going to run through your first 3 turns if this is what you're going to want to do. Right. Let's start. First, yeah, you're going to have a Drangal. So you've checked top 5 cards of your deck, and you've ridden into this. If you're going first, that's all you're going to want to do. If you are going second, you're going to want to have called out 1 Snogal. If you have it in your hand, don't worry, you're going to want a Snogal behind here. If you're going second, you want this because there's going to be a generic 8k Vanguard most of the time, 8 or 7. You're hitting 13, that is plus 6 on a 7, plus 5 on an 8, so you're going to have to at least a 10k guard if they're going to be early guarding, which isn't common, but it just prevents that a lot of the time. Right? You're going to want to try and not take damage that turn. Maybe take 1 or 2 at most. You don't want to have more than 3 damage by the time you get to grade 3. If you do, you're in a bit of a bad point. Right, next thing you're going to want to ride this. If you're going first, this is a very good thing because you'll hit grade 2. The person you're against will probably have they'll have a grade 1 rear guard. If you were going first, you wouldn't have called this, so you'll have called it now. They'll have grade 1, which will be 8, 7, maybe even 6k if they've had to ride a perfect guard. You've got 15 here. Okay, 15's an alright number. You're going to go hit them. You go straight at them. You're going to hit. Simple. They're going to have to drop a 10k to stop you. What else to say? Your first 2 turns are quite boring. Okay? Now you go for your next turn. You want to have 2 or 3 damage at this point. You want to make sure you've taken 2 or 3 damage. Because now you're on to your next turn. You're going to be you're either going to superior ride this, which you don't really want to do, or you're going to be bringing out your wonderful Garmore. This is your preferred target. You bring out a Garmore, you drop a card from your hand, and you bring out yet another Snogal. Yep, you bring out a Snogal. Somewhere to like here. Hopefully, at this point, you'll also have a Garmore in your hand. A Galahad in your hand. Yeah, if you do, you bring it out. Quite simple. If you don't have the Galahad, chances are you're going to have one of these cards in your hand. Yeah, one of these grade 2s will be in your hand if you most of the time. Okay, you're going to have a superior call chance or a sniping chance. This is why you want to have the 2 or 3 damage at this point, preferably 3. If that's by 3, you're probably going to heal at some point in the game, and if you're a 3, you're probably going to be at a higher damage than they are because you've only had 2 attacks. So you've got a definite chance of healing, which is good. By using these cards here, 1, you can call this guy out, superior call Snogal. Call this guy out, superior call Snogal. Call this guy out, superior call Snogal. pull this guy out, have a 16k column that snipes. You've just sniped out a card. If all else fails, instead of having one of these guys out, what are you going to do? You're going to bring out another like Tribulation. Not a lot to it. Potentially, a good potential turn which you could have would be to have brought this one out here. Already have one of these guys out. Bear in mind what your hand's going to be at this point. You're going to be pretty low on hand. Probably about, let's say you've had 2, maybe 3 drive checks. Right, we've had 2 drive checks potentially. Grade 1, grade 2 drive check. This would be going second. That's an extra 2 cards in your hand. Yeah, you're not going to have that many cards in your hand. Maybe 3. 2-3 cards in your hand now. So you're going to then go for your drive check. You're going to get up with 5 cards. This is a good defensive setup because you're wanting to intercept with your Akane. Get rid of your 8k. Yeah. Then at some point you're going to want to bring out some other support units. Maybe another Galahad. Maybe bring out a Blaster Blade. Blow off some units. Or maybe even if you can get it out, bring out one of these. At the moment you have a 19 column here, a 21 here, and a minimal 16 here. 16 is a good number for taking out Vanguard, for hitting the 11k Vanguards. 19 is a good number for taking out the annoying 12k attackers, things like that. Right? And 21, that's a strong number for attacking the Vanguard. You're hitting for extra ones. Now, let's say we're still on this turn, we're on a 16k column on one side. You're going to go for the enemy rear guard with your 19. Try and take out the rear guard. It doesn't really help the enemy team to be able to guard that because they'll have to burn 15 to protect the 12k rear guard. If they guard that, you've just depleted their hand a hell of a lot. If they don't, you're in a very good position because you've just taken out one of their 12k attackers. They are big threats in the current meta. 12k attackers, a 12k with an 8k behind it, it's hitting for 20. That's a hard number for a Garmore to defend against. Then you want to swing in with this guy at the enemy Vanguard. Yeah, you go for 16. They're going to have 10k to guard. Okay. Next, you go for a 21. That's a 15 to guard there, isn't it? Right? You also have the potential of getting one of these. A nice stand trigger. Bring up your Galahad. Galahad's up to 16. Yeah, Galahad's going to go in. What if you've got a crit or something? You've got a good amount of damage coming in here. Right, now let's play through for your next turn. You've stood up, you've taken some damage, you're up to 4, maybe 5 damage at the moment. Right, you've managed to draw a card you're after here. Boom. Also, you would have intercepted with this gun here. Boom, you bring out your Galahad. What happens? You bring out your Sanctuary Guard Dragon. What happens there? You drop one of your Garmores. Yeah. What you bring out again? You'll bring out another Snogal. Your fourth, your final Snogal. As long as you can still get it out, you're bringing it out. Okay, this is your big turn. This is your turn 4. Your turn you're going to make a big power play. Okay, you have a 20k column, an 18 column, and with the boost from all of your other units, you have a 32 column in the center. 32 doesn't sound that impressive. It hits hard. A 32 column, they're not going to guard that. So they're going to guard your rear guards. Okay, so be it. Use your rear guards to take out their rear guards. Reduce their potential guards. They're going to have to perfect guard your vanguard. If they don't, they're going to take a good damage. You could get some crit triggers. You could not. You might get a stand. You might get a draw. You might increase your hand advantage. From this point, you're not going to want to try and change your field. You're just going to try and replace whatever gets taken out. So take out a Snogal. Okay, that's a bit of a shame. You're going to have to bring out, say, a Grade 1 Galahad. That's an important thing here. Bring out the Grade 1 Galahad. Yes, I know you're going to be hitting a 15k here, That's an awkward number, but you can take out rearguards with it. And it still gives you a 31k on your vanguard when you're attacking. You're wanting to make sure you have 4 cards out. 4 of them. 4 grade 1s. Otherwise you're not going to be hitting the numbers you want to. With 4 you get with 4 grade 1s and a Snogal, that's 20k boost. If it's 4 Snogals, that's 21k boost. It's the way you want to play this deck. It's slightly different to a lot of other decks you might see. It's how I play it. You don't have to play it like that, it's just the way I found that works. In some circumstances, you would not have done any counterblasts. You'll be somewhere along the lines of this on your 3rd turn. Okay, you're having really bad luck. You've only managed to get this. Maybe you don't even have the Galahads in your soul. What do? Cool. You counterblast, say you're on 5 damage because you're having really bad luck here. Counterblast 3. Yeah? That's the superior call grade 2, yeah? Most people would say bring out a Blaster Blade. I say bring out an Akane. What can she do? She can counterblast 2. What does that counterblast 2 do? It brings you out another Snogal. Bang, you've just given yourself a 21k central column. Right? And that central column is what's going to win you the game. You've got 16k on one side and 18 on another. This deck is so consistent with the field, you don't really have to worry about it. You're going to be able to hit a good formation at almost any point in the game. It's the way you want to play this deck in my opinion. Other people may find other ways to do it, and if you've got any suggestions, please do contact me. Right? And as you can see, this deck can be incredibly consistent. You're not going to be losing many chances to have full field. Link Jokers will do a lot to you. They'll lock out your Snogals. It means you're going to have to play it differently. You're going to have to focus more on your Galahad or something like that. Your Link Joker is the bane of this deck's existence, along with the with Mega Colony and Kagero, Narukami. The ones with the retiring clans, the stopping your standing clans, they are your big issues. In particular, with Narukami, when I believe set 14 or comes out, certain Killer Eradicator Uni will ruin this deck because it will get rid of your front rows. It won't particularly target the back rows, but with the quite a lot of other cards, you'll be able to take out the back rows, proper sniping abilities. With the next few expansions, this deck will start to fall off. Right the way through, this deck will fall off soon. It's not falling off yet. I will add a Quintet Wall instead of one of my flashing Jewel Knight Assaults, because I want to have a Quintet Wall in there. They're useful, they're good for against the break rides. You counterblast 1, bam. I don't use any counterblasts. I don't really use much from the deck. Yes, it's risky losing all the Snogals, but you're going to probably have them all out before you use your Quintet Wall. So, yeah. That is my deck. Right. Any thoughts on the deck? Any ways you think I can change it to improve it? I have tried running Marins. I have tried running the 8 crits. They don't particularly work with how I play. I may swap out my King of Knights Alfred for another Sanctuary Guard Dragon. That I think would probably be a good call. I may swap the Akanes out, but they are very solid. I want another Constance, but I don't see where I could fit it in without ruining the rest of my deck. Dropping down to maybe 3 Garmores, sticking another Sanctuary Guard, could work to improve consistency. I'm not too sure at the moment. I'll keep people posted. That's how my deck's run at the moment. Right, and now, thank you for watching. I'm Towan. I've talked about Cardfight. See you again later. Goodbye.